There's Joe Theismann. Hey, Joe, good morning, sir.
Good morning to all you guys. I hear you talking about Jim Gaffigan. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
He is so great. I listen to the comedy channels all the time on my radio, but I've also had a chance to see him in person. Anybody who's listening, and I know there's millions and millions of people listening, if you get a chance to watch him, go have a great night with him. He's a lot of fun.
Yeah, Jim Gaffigan is terrific. And we're hoping to get him
Chick.
here in the studio.
So is Chick, my buddy Chick. Are you kidding?
Thank you, Seven. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
All right.
So, Joe,
And now here's Tom.
Real quick question. This is just by way of a. So I'm in my car last year, and I popped this interview on. It's in the middle, and it's some guy talking football, and I'm thinking, God, this guy really knows what he's talking about. And it kind of goes on and on. Who is this? This guy really knows his stuff. But the guy's not saying who he's talking to. Turned out to be Joe Theismann. And, oh, well, no wonder he knows what he's talking
to myself.
It was great. Because there's a lot of people like me that have no idea what they're talking about. So to hear from someone that knows, I know Chick's got a couple questions about this, the changes in the way football's going to work this year at the kickoff.
Oh yeah, what do you think about that, Joe? The dynamic kickoff, they're calling it, and why didn't they just back up the kicker? I'm not sure, Joe.
What's funny, they call it a dynamic kickoff, but I've seen nothing dynamic about it yet.
No, not yet. No.
Has anybody? I mean, if anybody has seen something dynamic, please let me know, and we'll be able to watch. I think it's, they've done this in an effort to supposedly make the kickoff a little safer. But I don't recall many guys coming off the field being checked for concussions after the kickoffs during the course of a game or the course of a season or the course of seasons. So they have statistics and they'll base it on that. And, they want to make the game as safe as possible. I certainly understand that. What I was curious about, though, with everybody lined up where they are on the kickoff, so close to one another, does this eliminate the onside kick?
I think it does, and I don't think you can have an onside kick unless you declare.
You have to tell the other team.
And it's the end of the last 2 minutes of a game is the only time you have even a shot at having an onside kick, I guess.
Well, even if you declared, does it change where the players line up?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't.
See, I'm very curious because. I started watching the kickoffs, and we haven't seen anybody break one yet. And you hear the announcers during the preseason say, well, coaches aren't going to show a lot during the preseason. They want to sort of mask a little bit of what they're thinking. I don't know how many things you can do with everybody lined up where they are on kickoffs. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
The one thing the NFL did not want to see is, like, at the end of preseason, 9 kickoff returns for touchdowns. And they certainly didn't see any of that. Matter of fact, I don't think there was one, if I recall correctly.
Well, a lot of people don't realize that you used to return punts. I mean, not only were you a Super Bowl winning NFL MVP, but Joe returned punts early in his career.
I started my career at Notre Dame as a punt returner.
Yeah.
First 7 years of my first 7 games of my sophomore year, 7 years. Heck, I could go now 7 years.
Yeah. Why not?
Today.
A couple of years of eligibility.
Get some of that NIL money.
In my first 7 years in college, I played quarterback. Other than that, but I returned the first 7 weeks of my sophomore year till Terry Hanratty got hurt. I wound up returning punts. And then my first 2 years in Washington in 74 and 75, which just seems like yesterday, I returned punts, and then I had a chance to play a little bit of quarterback after that.
Did you score any touchdowns from the
almost
returning?
No, Christy. I almost had one against the Cowboys in Dallas. The seas parted in front of me. Matter of fact, it's funny you mentioned. I can see it as soon as somebody says, excuse me, I can see, pardon me, I can see the seas parting in front of me. And then all of a sudden, there was the goal line. And if somebody caught my foot, I fell on my face. That was the only chance I had. The only one I really had.
Yeah. That had to be terrifying.
I don't know how you don't fall over looking up to catch a punt. I'd fall over. I would fall over.
Right.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's the neatest thrill in the world. It's you against literally 10 guys. I don't count the kicker. So it's you against 10. And the thing is, it's not a matter of speed until you get going, but it's a matter of quickness to make people miss. I watch guys today have a difficult time returning punts. And I think if you just watch the ball, it makes it a lot easier. But some guys are so in such a hurry to get going, they don't focus on the ball. I absolutely loved it. As a matter of fact, somebody asked me one day, if you could go back, and good Lord kept you healthy, if you could go back and do one thing in professional football, what would it be? Let me go return punts.
No kidding. That's it.
I loved it that much. I used to stay after practice. I used to stay after practice for 30 minutes and catch it behind my back, catch it with, barehanded, catch it on the run. I never wore gloves, which to me, as far as punt returners go, a kid has a glove on, I would not let him practice with them on if he felt like it might help him in a game. But you want to be able to feel the ball. You want to be able to see the ball. And you got to look the ball in. And it's amazing how many guys I've seen in preseason not be able to handle punts.
See, now, if you ask me what I'd like to see you do is I'd like to see you go back and call 70 Chip and we win the Super Bowl again.
That's right there as well.
Okay, all right, good. Thank you very much.
We are speaking.
Joe.
We are speaking with Joe Theismann. I just heard Belichick the other day say that the preseason was essentially worthless. You'd like to see it kind of go.
How close are we to doing away with the preseason games, Joe? Is that certainly 2 games next year, I think, if at all? But
well, if they go to 18 games, and if they're going to go to 18 games, they've got to increase the roster on Sundays to 53.
Yep.
Yeah.
They can't stay where they are.
Right.
So, one has to help the other because you're running out of players.
Right.
Do you know how many quarterbacks started last year?
Oh,
in
gosh.
Games? 65.
Whoa.
That's
65.
That's an average of
that's the
two a team.
65 quarterbacks.
Oh my God.
Last year. I mean, we've had Patrick Holmes is one of those rare people that played the entire season. Very, very seldom do we see a quarterback play the entire season, but then everybody else. But here's my problem with that is how are you going to evaluate choices and free agents? We just purged the roster of 35 people. 32 teams, 35 people just hit the streets. Now you got 2 weeks to get ready to play football. I don't like the fact that they're going to go to possibly 2 preseason games because your veterans don't play anyway. Mark my words. Watch the amount of fumbles that happen in these first 2 weeks of the regular season because guys aren't used to getting hit. Watch how many hamstrings get pulled because they're not used to being run. Watch how many guys go down because of heat. For example, we in the Commanders, we open in Tampa. I mean, it's going to be pretty darn hot.
Yeah.
But yet you haven't had your guys get ready from a physical standpoint, from an endurance standpoint, to play 60 minutes because they just don't. So now all of a sudden you get thrown into the fire, and this is where guys really get hurt. And this is where I think if the Players Association took a step back and looked at cutting back as opposed to economics for ownership, the health of the players, healthy not to play any preseason? Is it really healthy not to have guys banging against each other to get themselves ready? I would be dead against eliminating preseason. I think you have to have some work. Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, even Anthony Richardson, for example, in Indianapolis, he hardly played at all last year. You have a young guy, Drake May, up in New England. Now they're going to get into an entirely different speed of the game. We've seen guys look outstanding during the preseason, 1 series, 2 series. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
There's three different speeds of the game. There's the preseason, the regular season, and then the postseason. And really, to be honest with you, then there's a Super Bowl that goes to another. So there's those speeds that this game is played at.
Yeah.
These guys haven't seen at least 2 of them.
Here's a really dumb question. Do you, in practice, do they play actual games in a practice situation? Like if against each, you got the same team, but you play a fake game, so to speak, so they get some of that experience?
Well, I guess you could sort of say yes, Christy, to a degree. It isn't a fake game. You certainly don't hit one another.
Really?
They don't anymore.
But,
we used to.
Well,
we
the new CBA, they cut down on when you can wear pads. I mean, they barely.
We used to bang.
Yeah, bang heads all the time.
Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Okay.
We used to bang at one another all the time. What you do is you basically go through situation football. You have about 35 passing plays, or we used to. We'd have like 15 running plays where guys bang against one another. So, these are the runs we want to run. And then what they have is a scout team that has cards, and they show the scout team cards because this is the defense that we expect to see. So they line everybody up with what they expect to see. So it's quite scripted. But as far as playing an actual game, no. But see, my whole approach in practice was I approached it like a game. Playing the position in football is not a spigot where you turn it on, turn it off. If you don't go hard in practice, you're not going to know what it's like to go hard during the game. So I treated every huddle. I forced these. I wouldn't let the guys lollygag anywhere. Couldn't lollygag to the line. I wanted full attention. My huddle was not a democracy. It was a dictatorship. I mean, it was just. I got a lot of stuff to say in a very short period of time, and I need everybody's attention.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, that's what it should be, I would think.
That's the way I look at it. If you want to get good at something, you really apply yourself.
I would not have done well in Joe's huddle.
Joe, did you always see the coaches with they've got their pieces of paper in front of their face with all that stuff? Did you have the thing on your wrist with the numbers and the plays and everything? You see that?
Well,
we
actually used a signal system.
Okay, Don Bro, Breaux would signal in Joe the plays. Yeah, right. You should ask me that.
We had a numbering system.
Yeah, that's right.
real quick, the way our offense was set up, it was a 3-digit numbering system. For example, you'd call the formation, say trips right, and then you'd go 989, which our routes ran from 1 to 9. They each had a different designation. A 9 was a go route. A 1 was a quick out. A 2 was a quick post, and so on and so forth. And what we used to do was we numbered our system from the single receiver side to the 2 receiver side, because we didn't have a lot of 2x2s by then, 2 on each side. Mm-hmm. So the first digit went to the single receiver side. That would go basically to Charlie Brown. The second one would be the inside receiver to the 2 receiver side. Now, if you had trips there, it would be the second receiver out, and they would run like a 3, and then the other one would run a 9. So it would be 939. And Don, we had designations like the top of his head, his shoulder, his nose, his chest. If he touched those different parts, that was the indication of the play that should be called. And then there would be certain designations that would be the formations that were called. And we used to sit around and, as a group, as the quarterbacks, and bro, we'd sit there and we'd make up signs. We'd make up different things and, have fun with them. And, but Joe would tell Don what to run. Don would signal it in, and I would do it. And you spend so much time in meetings. As soon as he started to signal something in, say it was third down, I knew what Joe was thinking right away. So most of the time, I never saw the full signal from Don.
Did you ever shake him off? Go, this next one's going to be a Joe Theismann special.
Did it against the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC Championship game.
Well, that was is that the Russ Grimm story where he wouldn't stop that one run, right? Is that?
Yeah, that's right. We ran 50 guys. So what happens is Joe signals in 60 outside. I step in the huddle. This is the end of the game. We got to kill the clock. And, Russ and Randy White had this ongoing battle, like 2 warriors going at it. So I get in the huddle. I go, all right, let's go spread right, 50 gut. Russ goes, 60 outside. Russ goes, no. I said, what do you mean no? He said, no, I want to run 50 gut. I said, but Joe wants. Now I'm middle management. Okay, I got a really tough decision to make. So I said, spread right 50 gut. We gained 4 yards. I looked to the side. I signal, spread right, outside, huddle. All right, spread right. Russ goes, no. I said, what do you mean no? He says, run 50 gut. 50 gut, first down. Look to the sidelines, 60 outside, get in the huddle. Don't even give Russ a chance to. I go 50 gut. I think we ran 10. Finally, I looked at the sidelines and Joe went,
right.
Enough.
Forget it.
That's classic.
That was the only time I've ever seen him sort of go, okay, fine. But we had built-in Audible systems. If I didn't like something, I could go from a run to a pass. Very seldom would we go from a pass to a run unless we got it. We didn't really get that kind of looks because the offense that Joe created was so creative and inventive that we basically forced defenses into the coverages and into the fronts that we wanted them in. And then we ran the plays accordingly. Right. Today, there's a lot of multiplicity in the defenses. There's a lot of up and down and changing and, obviously formations. And, a lot of times when you see teams with movement, when you see a tight end or a running back moving, all they're trying to do is tell the quarterback, is it zone or is it man-to-man? If somebody moves with the guy moving, it's man-to-man. Right. If they stay stationary, you can expect a zone, which helps you read the defense.
Oh, well, these are good things to know.
Yeah.
Joe Theismann is our guest. Joe, it's always a great pleasure. I want to remind everybody that Joe, among other things, has the book How to Be a Champion Every Day. 6 Timeless Keys to Success from Joe Theismann. You can grab that and get yourself a little smarter. What other outlets does one have? Where can one find what you have to say about the games all fall? Are you posting somewhere?
I'm not hosting anything. I'm doing a lot of different shows. I do shows around the country. I do podcasts. It gives me a little more freedom to be able to, if I want to travel with my wife and I want to go on vacation for a while, it gives me a chance not to be locked in. You know what it's like being locked into shows.
Oh, you're preaching the choir, Joe.
We're handcuffed to these chairs.
So I like a little more flexibility.
Yeah, Joe, this is like the huddle, and I like to be in charge, but it's not working.
No, it's not working at all. Well, give Jaden all the help you can, buddy. I appreciate it. My goodness.
Hey, thanks, Joe. It's always a great pleasure. Hope to get you back in the studio on one of these trips.
Yes, sir.
Oh, anytime. I'd love to. I love catching up with you guys. I miss you. Chick, we're going to have a good year.
Okay. Thank you. You know me. I'm a nervous Nelly. You know that.
Hope springs eternal, Chick. Hope springs eternal.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Boy,
Bye.